AITA if my cousin goes hungry? I am not op. Original post by you, unlikely cat herder on r, am I the asshole in r, entitled People. AITA if my cousin goes hungry? November 13th, 2022. Let's introduce the cast of characters and hopefully make things clearer. There's me and my so. There is my cousin. 1. There's so and their 2 children ranging in age from 79. My aunt. My other cousin. 2. My other cousin. 3. And his son who is 18. Cousin 2 and 3 are siblings. We are all 40 and over. All have jobs except for the kids. The 18-year-old and the aunt, who is retired. We've decided to plan a family reunion for 4 nights 5 days. Cousin 2 paid $1,500 for the cabin and left the planning and buying of food to me and Cousin 1. Cousin 1 has not helped financially at all. That has left me and my so to buy the food. Because I knew it would fall on us. For several months now we've been buying food little by little. When we buy our groceries, we estimate we will spend close to $1,000 when it's all said and done. We aren't planning elaborate meals, but buying food for 10 people for 11 meals adds up. Cousin 2 is well aware Cousin 1 isn't helping with the food and that it's just me and my so paying. Cousin 2 continually reminds me that we have an 18-year-old man coming and he eats a lot, and that we need to make sure we have enough for him. I explained I bought a package of 40 hamburger patties. Even if all 10 people eat 2 hamburgers apiece, there will 20 hamburger patties left. I also said we're planning on 5 pounds of ground beef for spaghetti and another 5 pounds for chili. There will also be sides like rice or salad or cornbread or garlic bread. I've planned like that for every meal. Plus there will be bread and peanut butter and jelly and cereal. I can't imagine there won't be leftovers that he can eat if he gets hungry. He's still insisting that's not enough food and we should buy a couple of rotisserie chickens, and Cousin 3 suggested we buy ramen for his 18-year-old son. Cousin 3 and his son haven't not financially contributed even a penny towards this, nor do they have plans to pay for anything. I'm flatly refusing to buy extra food, and after the 10th text message I finally told Cousin 2 that since Cousin 3 and his son were getting a free vacation, if the food provided isn't enough then he can starve. I might have also called them moochers to have the gall to suggest foods that I could buy for them. So am I the asshole for being stubborn and refusing to buy something as cheap as ramen? Verdict: not the asshole. The entitlement just continues to grow. Family member that hasn't contributed wants to invite another family to join us. November 19th, 2022. You can see my post history for a recap of what's going on and what I'm complaining about. Short recap. We're going to a cabin in the woods for vacation. It's a family trip with extended family. Several cousins. A couple of kids. An aunt and a so. One cousin paid for the cabin and left the planning and buying meals to me and another cousin. The other cousin has not helped buy anything. Literally nothing. We're talking probably close to 1K of food bought and he hasn't paid not 1 penny. Won't Venmo me money. Won't buy stuff on his own. Constant excuses. Last night he messaged me and the cousin that paid for the cabin and said he wanted to invite more people. The cousin that paid for the cabin said no. Was actually polite about it. I've seen the texts. And the one who hasn't contributed a dime is now flipping out because he was told no. I'm just dumbfounded at this point. I don't have a lot of family left. That's why I was biting my tongue about the ones not paying towards this trip, but I'm just shocked that someone who hasn't contributed a dime to a trip thinks they can invite 4 other people and gets upset when told no. Update. Entitled Cousin wants to invite people to our family reunion even though he hasn't contributed financially. November 27th, 2022. I was asked to give an update and I've gotten a decent following, so here's your update. Would love to know where my followers came from. Our weekend is almost over. The last of the family leaves tomorrow, so I figured now would be a great time to give you guys the update. Quick recap for those that don't want to click on my post history to read the backstory. Cousins had a great idea to do a family reunion over Thanksgiving in a cabin in the woods. Not everyone was pulling their weight financially, and then one wanted to invite extra people. Said person got a bit butthurt when he was told no. Well, the cousin that wanted to bring extra people did not bring them. And he actually bought groceries. There was a group list going and he stopped before he got to the cabin and bought everything that was on the list that hadn't been bought yet. Then 2 days later we had to make a grocery run for more food. Several people had the munchies. And that was a decent bill and he paid that. He also helped with the cooking and cleaning. So in my eyes he pulled his own weight. The cousin that brought his brother and nephew, they spent the entire time high and drunk. But they weren't annoying. So while I personally don't see the point of what they did, I'm not gonna complain. Plus we'd wake up in the morning and he always made something like cookies or prepped food for the day. And he was great at emptying and refilling the dishwasher. Only one kid came. We had a blast with said kid. Misa had fun as well. For me, I was pleasantly surprised. I had a great time and it was really neat to see my daddy and my cousins. From mannerisms, to facial features, to the one cousin who is covered in fur from head to toe. It's been hard on me since my dad died, and for reason that would fill a book I didn't grow up with. This side of the family. So I had a great time reconnecting with them. We had a family meeting where we came up with a budget and how much each person needed to contribute to keep this thing going. The plan is to do the same next year. I'm supposed to call tomorrow to see about reserving the cabin for next year. Third update. Entitled Cousin Wants to Invite People to Our Family Thanksgiving Cruise Edition December 9th, 2022. I seem to have a decent following and responses from my last 2 posts, so I figured I'd give you guys another update. We are trying to make this a yearly tradition. We've gotten together the last 2 years and no one has killed someone, so we're trying for a 3rd time. On a cruise ship this time ominous music plays. The place we stayed at the last 2 times doesn't have any openings for the next 2 years, so after trying Airbnbs that charge a heck of a lot for a place big enough for us, I finally say screw it. We're looking at cruises. And wouldn't you know, there's a fairly cheap one that aligns with the dates we can go. Somehow it all fell on me to organize it. And it's like herding cats. I need specific info from each person going. And we're up to 10 people. And group emails and texts go unanswered, so I have to individually harass each person to get very basic info like birth dates, full names, and email addresses. Finally gave an ultimatum that worked. Give me your info today or you're not going. And finally, miraculously, I got everyone's info. I'm so impressed with myself, I'm going to reward myself with a nice margarita tonight. Or maybe something stronger. We've divided the cabins up basically by households. If you live with or came out of the body of a specific someone, that's who you're gonna be in a cabin with. And this is the part you guys are waiting for. The entitled person aspect to this. And why I decided to give this update. I chose the cheapest cabins for all but one cabin. The more expensive cabin will entirely be paid for by the people occupying it. One of the cheap cabins may not get to go. No one else is footing the bill. Those 2 people occupying it are responsible for their portion. If they can't pay, they don't go and no one else is penalized. They know this. They have 10 months to come up with the price of their cabin. It will be a struggle. The struggle is entirely due to poor financial management. One of the persons in the cabin who may not get to go is asking to switch roommates and cabins with the more expensive cabin. The same person that did not contribute anything to the last reunion. Not even cleaning up, cooking, organizing, nada. And they think they are going to weasel their way into a free cruise. Not gonna happen. Edit. I'll keep giving updates as long as people want to hear about my crazy family. I imagine I won't have another update until the final payment is due. And that's not till August. Reminder. I am not the original poster. I have questions about the cousin covered in fur. Why didn't he keep the cousin identification system, SIS, that he established in the first post? By the third I had no idea which cousin he was referencing. I'm glad Oop had a nice time and wants to do it again. Because if I'm being honest, the whole thing sounds dreadful. I would give up a lot of highly classified state secrets to avoid doing all that. AITA story? Meh. The naming convention Oop went with? Yes, much so. This a cruise. Why is one person managing the whole family? Why not let each group book their own option and then no one can complain about anyone not providing info, not paying, trying to move rooms? I get that they haven't killed each other yet, but they sure sound frustrating in every other regard. Wow. I feel like I recognize certain family members in this story. Especially the herding cats just to get info part. Not gonna lie, I giggled at, if you live with or came out of the body of a specific someone. I physically recoiled when I saw the word daddy, and that says a lot about my life. I like this crazy. It's the kind of normal crazy that we all can relate to because there is always one in the family. Sadly, I think it's me. Kidding. Something tells me this family lives somewhere in southern Alabama or East Tennessee. Oop is a saint because I don't have patience for people like this. Especially if they're family. I ask twice. If no one answers, then I'm dropping out. It kinda irks me that Oop is still trying. But hey, they're probably a better person than me, lol. Maybe Oop shouldn't plan family reunions with some of these weirdos? And it was really neat to see my daddy and my cousins, oh dear. Anytime anyone identifies people by numbers or only a letter or two, I don't read it. I would just not invite the cheap cousin, but whatever. I had to plan something similar, but it was just friends with kids and it was about 10 different families across several states. We specifically wanted group rates, but man, it was a pain being in charge of all that, and that was with responsible friends who were willing to communicate and financially pull their weight. I can't imagine doing this for entitled family 3 years running. I'd be like, we are going to this location as a family reunion. Find your own accommodations. This is always how any group trip goes. Especially with family. It's going to be weeks and months of stress and prolonged arguments. Only for it to always come together and work out well during the actual trip. Then, you wonder why you even worried until it's time to plan the next trip, lol. Lots of great info in this update, but missing a critical piece. How much leftovers were there? At the point Oop said, "Give me your info or you're not going," I would have just said, "If I don't have your info and money in my hand, you're not going." Oop gave them months. When the entitled cousin asked to bring people after refusing to pay for anything and demanding food, they'd have been uninvited, and it'd take a lot to get them invited to a future event.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.